So welcome back, Devin and Niall. This is part of our ongoing discussion about the IATF Auditor Guide, the process approach incorporating risk-based thinking, and now we're looking at analysis and synthesis of data, which is one of the key competencies that falls under the process approach. And I was interested to see in the Auditor Guide these statements. Discriminate between relevant and irrelevant information, and also the auditor ability to absorb data and focus in on the areas of significance based upon review of meaningful information. So, Niall, on this one, what do you think we're getting at in terms of relevant and irrelevant data from an auditing perspective?
Yeah, no, it's interesting. And Paul, this sort of concept of analyze and synthesize data is a strange, but the way I always think of it is almost joining the dots together. So you're not seeing things in isolation, but actually you're able to, and again, it's a real skill that an auditor has to be able to sort of connect things together and see the bigger picture almost.
But you're not going to distract me.
But as an auditor, you would say you would get me back on track very quickly and not allow me to go off on a tangent almost to try and, I won't say derail the audit, but just to sort of drag it out and try to sort of keep the auditor at arm's length. And the job of the auditor is almost to sort of cut through that and say, well, look, I need to understand what's happening in regards to this, that, or the other.
Yeah, and I think your point on analysis and synthesis was an important one. And I find this is difficult to teach people.
Yeah.
I think people have got this as a natural ability that they'll see several issues, but they'll be able to see the links between them and be able to prioritize on the areas of the highest risk.
Yeah.
Not all auditors can do that. I think it's very difficult to teach this. Devin, can you think of, maybe any practical advice on how auditors should approach this?
Yeah.
Because, we don't want to be seen as too hard as auditors.
Absolutely.
How should we address this in a practical audit sense?
So there's two ways to combat this. We know what happens. The first way is, once again, back to that audit prep. You have to know how this organization is running and what is linking to which. So you can easily pick up on maybe some trails when you start seeing all these dots connecting. As well as the auditor, it's your responsibility to lead the audit. It's your responsibility to make sure everyone's focused. Now, that doesn't mean be rude or curt to anyone that you're interviewing or anyone from that organization. It just means there's a time to have a chit chat and there's a time where you actually have to get down to the root of the issue.
Yeah, and I know that's particularly important in a third-party audit because we talk about audit time, 8-hour audit day. Yeah, we can't spend 4 hours of that talking about our holiday. It has to be focused on the areas of the greatest risk. Devin brought out the good part about audit preparation, Niall.
Yeah.
So how would we use the information that we've collected in the audit preparation to try and, this talks about the significant risks.
Yeah.
How will we use this information in an actual audit?
So the information would be used almost before the audit, paint a picture of where we see the biggest issues, the biggest risks, the biggest challenges, and then maintaining a sort of a laser guided focus on that during the audit. But again, as Devin said, with that flexibility to be able to suddenly make a change in direction based on something that comes out of the audit. It's a difficult thing to do, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think as an auditor, you've got the hard skills and sometimes we call them the soft skills. I think we're talking about a mixture of both here. That auditors have to be approachable, have to engage with the auditees, but not get distracted. It could be quite a fun video, I think, next week that we will see on this competency. But I think it is a really important one that auditors are able to join these dots together, as Niall said, in terms of how they analyse and synthesise data. So let's summarise. Yeah, auditors really do need to focus in any audit on the areas of the highest risk, taking into account customer-related performance data and internal performance data. And however much they try to get, the auditee tries to distract them, they do have to keep the focus on those areas of risk and not get distracted away from the real purpose of the audit. So thank you, Devin and Niall. Some interesting discussion that I'm sure we'll see put into practice next week.